I'm Stuart Cameron. Welcome to Friday's Look at Rugby, and we start with a quick look back to last week's events. And as well as Scotland coming close to beating Wales on Sunday, there was plenty of excitement in the BT Cup quarter-finals, Kelso almost causing an upset against Hawick at Poynter Park. But in the end, they lost out 19-13 to the Greens, who now progress to the semi-finals, and a home match against Heriot standing in their way of a third Cup final appearance at the National Stadium. National 2 side Howe Fife were beating cup holders Heriots at Golden Acre until late on, when a big comeback saw Heriots win 33-30, while Boroughmuir beat Stirling County and Glasgow Hawks knocked out Ayr in the other ties. In National 1, Selkirk blitzed Mar with an early spell where they scored 3 tries in 4 minutes. In the end, they ran out convincing winners, while Peebles rolled over Jed Forest with a scintillating second-half display. Elsewhere, Hoyt YM drew with Irvine in National 3, while in the East Leagues, Berwick, St Boswell's and Gala YM all won their games in Divisions 1, 2 and 3 respectively. Before we leave last weekend, the big news for Scotland was the citing of Finn Russell for an alleged dangerous tackle. In the hearing, his yellow card was changed to a red and he was given a 2-week ban, a decision which outraged many people and a decision which will be appealed by the SRU. Here are the opinions of former Melrose, Scotland and British Lion player and coach Jim Telfer on the Finn Russell incident.
I think it would have been harsh if it had been a red card, I think, in the game. And I think because the referee deliberated for so long, I think the yellow card was justified and not the red card. I heard commentators saying that he's a professional rugby player, he should know what to do, but it happens in a split second, and he got lost a little bit as he came in, and I can't see what actually could have done different to what he did do. The good thing from Finn's point of view, I think, and also from the game's point of view, was that Dan Biggar, who fell over the top of him, although he dropped the ball, he didn't make a big thing of it. He didn't act, he didn't lie around writhing in agony, he got up and ran away. And I think that proved that he wasn't all that badly injured. And he was able to, as he came down, he fell on his shoulder and rolled over. And so these things taken into account, the fact that Finn got into a position of no man's land, if you like. He didn't know what to do. So he just buckled. And years ago, that would have been just taken as an unfortunate accident, an unfortunate thing. But now there's so much spotlight on it, and it's looked in as being deliberate. I don't think it was deliberate. He had no malice in what he tried to do. He got a bit lost, to be quite honest. And I think that he's been unjustly, banned, I think, for 2 weeks.
And what about his thoughts on the opening 2 games in the Six Nations for the Scotland team?
From a coach's point of view, I'd be frustrated, because I think we did enough in both games to win the games, but that's not the nature of the beast. You have to take the chances when they're there. And against France, we were badly beaten in the second half as far as possession and position is concerned, but we always can score tries. We scored a great try before half-time then. Against Wales, the very first 5 minutes we had scored a very good try, and we were playing what I would say Scottish-type rugby and playing it quite well. But there are certain aspects of our game that really disappoint me, and it's mainly in broken play. I think that even early on, I noticed that some of the rucking techniques of our forwards wasn't as good, or the driving techniques of the forward wasn't as good as I would expect at this level. And I'm sure the coaches will be looking at that to make sure that when we do get the ball in some of those surges by the forwards, that we do get on the front foot, we get clean ball, and then it gives a chance for Greg Laidlaw and Finn Russell to move the ball if Finn is playing. So then I think that we've got enough good rugby players throughout the team, not just in the back division, who can create chances, which we did against Wales. And again, the old failing of not taking the chances when they come. I mean, early on, after we were leading, I think it was 7-3 at the time, Finn Russell made a lovely little break to put Alex Dunbar through with a little bit more composure. There was a hand there or thereabout from a Welshman, but there was still Sean Lamont further outside Bennett. We should have scored there, and that would have been probably 14-3 at the time. And then late on, for example, Aldo Klein went through, and you can debate whether it was a forward pass or it went forward or not. It was given as forward. What he maybe should have done was that just retain possession and not play 50-50 balls and then play the phases and hopefully get a try from there. So we're still kind of schoolboyish in the way we are approaching the game, in that, well, we've been encouraged to run the ball, we will do so, and it doesn't matter really if we make a mistake. Well, it does. And we have to make sure that against Italy, then we see another improvement, another stage forward in our set-piece play, but especially in our driving play. At the moment, our link play is good. I think the link from the back row through to the half-backs is excellent. I think especially Beattie and Blair Cowan, they're good links. And each of the back divisions are playing well. It's make sure we get a lot more ball and quicker ball from the rucks.
Jim Telfer, always interesting to hear his views. Well, it's a very big day for rugby tomorrow. The Premiership returns, of course, and for most teams, there's just 2 games left. Certainly that's the case for our big 3, Melrose in 2nd, Gala currently 4th and Hawick in 5th spot. Remember, this season there are playoffs to decide who will be Scottish Premiership champions, and while Melrose and Heriots are safe for a spot in the knockout phase, 3rd and 4th positions are yet to be decided, and if my calculations are correct, only Boroughmuir and Edinburgh Accies are out of the running for a playoff spot, while Hawick are completely safe from any relegation worries. So at Netherdale, it's Gala versus Melrose, and the game will mark the end of Grant Somerville's career for Gala as he heads south on business. We wish him well for the future. Let's have a look at how the teams line up, starting with Gala. And at fullback, we've got Craig Dodds. Number 14 and 11, the wingers Grant Somerville and Graham Spears. Ewan Scott and Chris Auld, the centre partnership. And the halfback pairing, George Graham captaining out of 9 and Rex Jeffrey at fly half. In the front row, Luke Petty, Russell Anderson and Ewan Johnston. Craig Borthwick and Chris Weir are 4 and 5. And the back row, Chris Mean, Scott Wilkinson and Ewan Dodds. On the bench for Gala tomorrow, Callum McIntosh, James Hilterbrand, Peter Palapoy, Alan Eamond and Keith Young. For Melrose, a very strong-looking side. Fraser Thompson captaining out of fullback. Tito Mua and Bruce Colvin on the wings. Austin Lockington and Joe Helps in the centre. Richard Mill and Murdo McAndrew at 10 and 9. In the front row, it's Nick Bevan, Richard Ferguson and Ewan McQuillan. 4 and 5, James Head and Ross Miller. Peter Eccles, Grant Runciman and Graham Dodds are the back row. And the replacements, Cameron Mackay, Nicky Little, Rory Knott, Tom Wilson and Tom Galbraith. Now, Hawick are at home to Edinburgh Accies, and it's so important that you feel whoever loses will either miss out on the playoffs in the case of Hawick, or from an Accies perspective, are likely to be relegated to National League One next season. The Greens team, Lee Armstrong at fullback, Nicky Walker and Neil Rennick on the wings, John Coots and Scott McLeod, the centre partnership. Number 10 is Rory Hutton, who's captaining, and Greg Cottrell at scrum half. In the front row, Sean Muir, Lindsay Gibson and Matt Landals. Mike McKee and Bruce McNeil in the boiler house, and Nick McTaggart, Rory Scott and Keith Davis are in the back row. On the bench, Nick McLennan, William Blacklock, Ross Gibson, Sean Goodfellow and their pro from Edinburgh, Joaquin Dominguez, who will no doubt to make an impact when he comes on wearing the green jersey later on in the game. Well, International League One and Selkirk can make it 18 out of 18 if they overcome Jed Forest at Philippoch. But although Jed lost to Peebles last week, they're bound to up their game for this one. Kelso play host to Mar, and a win will surely secure National 1 status for them next season, and you would expect a home win following their gutsy performance last Saturday in the Cup, and the fact that Mar were blown away by Selkirk. But a word of warning, Mar are a team that do come late and could well cause Kelso a few problems later on. Peebles, by the way, are away at Watsonians. In other local matches, Hawick YM have an important game at Dunfermline in National League 3. There's a derby in East League 1 between Hawick Quins and Langham, with Hawick Lindeen playing at Dalkeith. No East League 2 matches involving local sides, but in East League 3, Gala YM are at home to Ross High. And that's it for your rugby tonight.